Hey guys, so today I want to do a video on fasting. Okay, so I want to talk about the truth about fasting, what you're not told about fasting, which my God, I wish I knew what I know now because I actually really hurt myself doing the amount of fasting that I did. And also I want to talk about my personal experiences and what I've had happen after doing so much fasting. So I guess I kind of want to start off with sharing my experiences about this. And also I feel like this video is just so important because I was looking at all the videos online. Everyone's like, oh, fasting, water fasting, it's great. Dry fasting this and, water fasting that, juice fasting. And it's becoming so trendy. And I thought it was like helpful. I thought, oh, wow, this is a powerful way that I can deepen my healing right now. And I wanted to rush my healing really badly because I just wanted my skin to get better. I wanted my digestive issues to get better. And I just wanted to rush it. So I was like, oh, perfect. Fasting, you cleanse a lot all at once. And it just sounded so great to me. But I'm paying for it now in my healing. And I'm really glad. I'm just grateful to have the truth now because my body is just so much happier and I'm not dealing with such severe flare-ups and stuff from doing intense fasting. So I started fasting way before medical meeting protocols. The first time that I did it was with my mom and we did a 10-day smoothie fast. And so that consisted of one smoothie 3 times a day, and then you could have scoops of nut butter, like peanut butter or almond butter in between, which now I know is awful if you're cleansing because you don't want to have fats in there so your liver can actually release and cleanse itself of poisons. When you eat fat, it bogs the liver down and it just has to work so hard just to process and store the fat that it can't actually do the cleansing it needs to do. So that was the first kind of fasting that I did. The second kind was I did when I started medical meeting protocols, which was about it was over 2 years ago now. So I did like a 20, or no, this was before that. I did a 10, it was either a week long or a 10-day fast of just juices and then my heavy metal detox smoothie, which at the time I was adding freaking flaxseed into. So that's not really helpful because that was probably slowing it down. It's not great to do fats, but I don't know, it was less fat than I was used to, so maybe it did help a little bit. I don't know, but so I did a 21, oh wait, no, I keep saying that. I did the 10-day juice fast or 7-day, I don't remember exactly. And so it was basically like a liquid meal fast more than anything because I had a smoothie in there. And, it felt okay. I felt pretty clear. I didn't really feel bad after doing those fasts. And then I did another week-long juice fast and a 2-day water fast in the middle of that. And that one felt pretty good. When I was water fasting, it was really intense. It felt really good spiritually, and I just had such clarity and your intuition heightens, and it felt really good in that aspect. But my body was crying for fruit and glucose and mineral salts and just to get me to stop fasting basically. But I didn't understand. I thought you just have to kind of push through that stuff, if it doesn't feel good when you're fasting, that, oh, it's just the toxins coming out. That's what I thought from all the videos and stuff that I had seen on this subject. And then I did a few more 1-day water fasts here and there. And then last year, last winter or so, I did a 21-day juice fast. And this was over a year of being on medical meeting protocols. I wasn't doing certain things, as well as I could, but it's not about being perfect, whatever. So I did a 21-day juice fast thinking that it was going to help speed up the healing of my skin, heal up my digestive system better. And I just wanted to really speed things up. And it was kind of fasting for me actually became an eating disorder type of thing because there were days where I would go all day without eating and I would be like, oh, I'm water fasting, but then I would binge and have a ton. I'd have watermelon or something, but then I'd end up eating a bunch of fat, like peanut butter and stuff to satiate me because I needed the calories so badly and I didn't have the right information. And so fasting was never really the best thing for me. I would go into it with intentions to cleanse and to heal and would get really wrapped up in the weight aspect of it because, you know, I would lose weight in the beginning. I was like, oh, this is great. And so anyways, back to the 21-day juice fast. I did that, and I did a 1-day water fast after that. And it was so bad on my, like, it wreaked havoc on my system, and I wish I would have known the truth so that I wouldn't have jumped into a fast like that, because basically what happened was I had so many immense flare-ups with my skin. Like, I remember I had these liver spots popping out all over my face, like on my cheeks, on my chin, up here. My, you know, all my skin was completely dry and like breaking apart, and it was just so bad. And so I thought that was normal. I was like, oh, okay, my skin's healing, I'm doing deep healing. But really what was happening was my liver was dumping a ton of dermatoxins all at once, and they didn't have anywhere to go. They couldn't really be filtered out properly. And so they were going up through the skin to try to come out, like to cleanse out of my body. And it was just like I had a giant flare up for like a while. It took me like a month or several months after that to really get my skin back like into like get back to normal, or normal, like how it was before that. And so I was having a bunch of flare-ups, and then after my fast, my adrenals were shot. Like, not only I was doing lots of juices, but I wasn't doing them every 2 hours like Anthony recommends to protect your adrenals. And I would go, you know, 4 or 5 hours for my last juice in the evening without having anything. And I really ended up paying for it, because after that cleanse, I was so exhausted. My adrenals were so worn out from that I literally, like about 11 o'clock in the day or 10 o'clock a.m., I would just get exhausted and have to take a nap or something. And like I couldn't function really for like a while after my fasting. And so, you know, they say when you're having all sorts of symptoms and stuff come up that it's part of your healing and it's part of the detox, and oh, it's good because all the toxins are leaving your system. But okay, so here's the truth of what's actually happening when you fast. And I learned this from Anthony William, and it just makes so much sense. And it really validated my intuition that I was totally ignoring during all of the fasting. So what happens is, unless we've been eating super clean for a long time, like I'm talking like high raw, low fat, doing medical meeting protocols, keeping out the foods that feed pathogens, you know, for years, for a long time, like doing celery juice every single day. When we haven't been doing those things for a long time, and we're kind of coming from, even if it's a vegan diet, it can be a junky vegan diet. And when we're coming from eating those kinds of foods and we jump into intense fasting to try to like heal really quickly, our livers hold so much poison in them, right? We've got stuff falling out of the sky from the chemtrails and whatnot. You've got stuff in your water. You've got tons of chemicals in your food. You know, it's just everywhere. The stuff we're putting on our bodies, if you're a girl and you wear perfume, or if you're a guy and you wear cologne, shampoo and conditioner, if you get your hair dyed, you know, all of these things contribute to poisons that our liver has to store up to protect us. And it doesn't release them until it feels safe and feels like it can get them out with ease. But what happens with fasting is, Anthony says it's like pushing a little kid off the diving board. So it's like you push your liver off the diving board and it has to like dump all this poison all at once, right? And so people think, yeah, it's great and it's getting out, you're flushing it out. But no, what actually happens is it floods your bloodstream. All these poisons, they go to your brain, they go to your heart, they go to your nervous system, they go to your adrenals, and they start wreaking havoc on your body, because these poisons were stored away so that they wouldn't harm you until it was safe for them to release, and you just forced yourself to release all of them. And so your liver ends up having to suck up all of them, working 10 times harder to protect you, and now it's traumatized. Your liver literally gets traumatized because it's like, oh my God, I can't release poison because I'm gonna have to work harder and soak it all back up. And you can end up hurting your liver and paying for it after the fast, and you can end up having to, like, you know, your healing process takes so much longer just because of all the intense fasting, which I am now dealing with. And I'm totally okay with it now because I know I'm doing the right things. But so during the 21-day juice fast, that was the first time fasting that I didn't lose weight, because I'd done a bunch of fasting stuff before, and each time I would lose weight, and it's kind of like addictive if you have body image issues and if you're self-conscious about your figure or whatever, which I was, because I've always been a stick my whole life, and I was wondering what happened, like why the weight gain started, which was because my liver was totally maxed out before I started my healing process. So it was bound to happen regardless. And not to mention, like, I was doing such high fat in the beginning of my healing journey that it was just like, no wonder my liver was so sluggish and stagnant, and it was like not really coming back as quickly as it would, plus the fasting. So when you do intense fasting, it's just not great, and you can end up dealing with a lot of symptoms and stuff afterwards that you wouldn't have had to deal with. And for me, weight gain was one of the biggest ones. And so anyways, what I was saying is, during that 21-day juice fast, I didn't gain weight I didn't lose weight, during the fast, but then after, as soon as I got off, the weight started coming on, and I actually gained a lot more weight after doing that fast. So it was interesting, because what happens is your liver, when it has to suck up all those poisons to protect you, it ends up weakening, and then you end up walking out of the fast with a weaker liver than you did before. And it's so messed up, it's so backwards, because I'm over here thinking that all of my organs are just like so happy that I'm fasting, and I just thought it was the best thing ever, and I was so like, I want to heal quickly, I really just wanted to speed the process along. But now I've learned that it is a process, it's a journey, it doesn't happen overnight, and you know what, we've got different things that we have to deal with on our healing journey based on where we were at before we start. We've got to think about, like, I had a couple decades of poison and horrible eating and trauma and all sorts of stuff, like beating my liver down my entire life. And we have to think about like how long we've been doing the wrong thing, so that when we start our healing journey, we can have compassion for ourselves, because it is going to take time usually, unless your like liver is like really not that bad off and you're like lucky, that's amazing. But most people, like nowadays, we're just so toxic and we're so overloaded with poisons, and it's such a high adrenaline, high stress planet, and that all weakens the liver. And so anyways, I just wanted to share that, because I went into fasting thinking that it was going to be this miracle to help speed along my recovery, my healing journey, but really it put me back several steps each time, because I hadn't been eating clean and cleansing for like years and years and years. I was coming to the fasting from like being vegan and like kind of clean, introducing some raw foods, but it wasn't really that clean. And before that, oh my gosh, like processed, absolutely horrendous diet. Not to mention the high stress, high adrenaline, all of that. The adrenaline is worse than the no foods that you can eat, like the pathogen feeding foods like soy, canola, dairy, gluten, eggs, all of that. Adrenaline is actually more harmful. It's like battery acid, especially the fight or flight adrenaline. And it's really corrosive, and your liver sucks it up just like the poisons to protect you, and it ends up really weakening it and like diminishing your liver. So yeah, it's something to keep in mind, that we have this whole background of stuff. And you really, if you're going to do a fast, I'm all for it if you're in a space where you've been healing for a while and you genuinely feel like, okay, my body wants this, and then you really listen. And when you're doing the fast, if your body's like, no, like I need food, I need glucose, you listen and you break it in a safe, gentle way. I'm all about it, but it's good to really make sure that that like your body is in a space where like that's going to be helpful and not harmful. Because for most people, it might seem helpful at first until it stops working and you end up getting worse off after the fasting. And there's just not really a whole lot of information on this, like on the truth about fasting. And so yeah, just make sure if you're gonna do a fast that you genuinely feel like, okay, I've been eating clean for years, like I've been doing low fat, I've been doing high raw, I've been doing heavy metal detox smoothies or celery juice, and I've been doing all the things my body needs, and now I feel like I can do this fast. And so when you do a fast, it's 1 day or 2 day water fast, maybe 3 day max, but like you really don't want to go long term because that is what ends up traumatizing your liver. And even if you've been eating clean for a long time, it's just really taxing on your system and on your adrenals and everything. So it's better to do a 1 or a 2 day water fast. Anthony says 2 days is like the best amount of time to do one. It's really important to not go overboard. And I know it's like, it really does get addictive because it starts feeling good. You know, you start running on adrenaline, you get this like euphoria that kind of comes over you. And it feels good, but it can bring you a lot of spiritual, like, gut insights and a lot of clarity, but it's just not great for your body. Your body and your liver don't want to be pushed. So just know that if you're going to do a water fast, maybe just do 1 day and try it out, and don't do it all the time. You know, just let yourself work up to that after you've been eating good for a while. And so in regards to dry fasting, do not do that. Don't dry fast. Like, I am so glad I never did because it just never quite sat with me, right? Because I was like, dry fasting, like not even having water, like how is this stuff supposed to get out of your body if you don't have fluid, like at least helping it, you know, get out of you? And Anthony said that destroys your kidneys. So if you're doing fasting and you start having kidney pains, stop fasting and like get some celery juice in you and get some fruit in you, because that means it's not good. Like, you're actually harming yourself. So yeah, if your kidneys, you're like basically dry fasting, it can destroy your kidneys and your organs can like shrivel up from not having glucose and water, and it can cause so many issues. So don't ever do dry fasting. Water fasting, you know, 1 or 2 days, and then juice fasting, that's better, but you just want to make sure you're doing it properly. Like, you're doing a juice every 2 hours so your adrenals have something to go on and you're not forced to like compensate with adrenaline, which is what I did. And, you know, you just want to make sure you're doing it right. And you don't want to do long juice fasts. Like, you know, maybe, you know, a few days or something. Just really listen to your body. And when your body's like, okay, that's enough. Or if you start not feeling well, break the fast and know that, okay, like, you know, I tried a little bit of fasting and now I'm going to give my body like, you know, nourishment. I'm going to refuel it with the right things, you know? And honestly, like, if you just are looking to deepen your cleansing or anything like that, if you just cut your fats out or bring them down, every time you do that, it allows your liver to cleanse in a deeper way because it's not dealing with the fats and having to like, you know, store them up, because most people can't break them down because they have poor digestion and weak bile production and weak hydrochloric acid. So if you just lower your fat or keep that out, that's a great way to cleanse and detox in a safe way. Okay, so let me look at this sheet. I kind of wrote some things down to make sure I'm not going to forget anything. Yeah, so basically, like, the weight gain thing afterwards, like, that's just a big possibility because it can weaken your liver big time. So if you're really toxic, if you know that you're toxic and like you haven't been doing the right things for a long time, then don't jump into any fasting. Just don't do it because it's just going to hurt you. And I'm telling you this from a very honest place, from my own experience. And I wish I would have had this information because I was researching all about water fasting and all I saw was like, oh, it's so amazing, it's great, and it, you know, it helped me heal so much, but it's really, like, you just got to be careful. There's so much misinformation. And I trust Anthony's information because it's coming from a pure place. It's coming from the spirit of compassion, and it's not tampered with. Like, it's not considered, you know, it's scientific because science hasn't caught up with it yet. Science actually, the trend that I've been noticing is that when he puts something out for so long, eventually, once it helps so many people heal, then they come out with some sort of like science to try to like say, oh yeah, all of a sudden they know about like Epstein-Barr virus, for example, when Anthony's been talking about this for decades and they didn't know anything about EBV or its correlation to chronic illness, which it's the cause of a lot of chronic illness. And so it's just funny watching that happen because his info is so advanced and it's helping so many people that they're like trying to like catch up and act like they know because science wants to have all the answers, but really they don't. Anyways, I didn't mean to go on a rant about that. But oh yeah, so something else that's really important is, so our entire lives, we have broken trust with our liver and with our body, and not purposefully, but we've been, we aren't taught to do the right things. We're not taught to take care of the liver. We're not taught how to properly cleanse and heal ourselves. And so our whole life we've been like breaking that trust, and fasting can do that even more. And so like really we need to build trust back up with our liver and with our body and with ourselves. And we need to do that in a way that is like gentle, gentle cleansing, bringing in the right healing foods, bringing in celery juice, and getting better over time. That shows us, okay, I'm getting better, I'm healing, I'm not having this, this crazy flare up where I'm exhausted and my adrenals are shot after fasting. That is such a blow to our trust and to our body's trust. And I just wanted to mention that because I was listening to the fasting show that Anthony did called The Truth About Fasting, I believe. And yeah, he's just talking about how we need to build up trust with our bodies. And I just really felt that like, wow, like I've really broken that with my body for so long. And, all the stupid things I did in high school, the drinking, all that stuff, So yeah, so I hope this is helpful. I really, really, really just wanted to make this because it feels important and it feels like this is needed right now because so many people are doing all sorts of fasting, and I'm watching people suffer and not knowing why because of the fasting that they're doing. And it's so sad because it's just so confusing, like trying to figure out how to heal and move forward with all the information out here now. There's not a lot of truth, and Anthony is really the only source that I've found to really be bringing this pure truth that works. And I've been testing it on myself for over 2 years. So like it's real. And it's amazing. It's just like miraculous. Like the healing I'm doing, it just like, it's just blowing my mind. Like things that I never thought would heal are healing. And it makes me really emotional. And I'm just so grateful like that I found the medical medium information, because I really don't know where I would be in my life had I not found Anthony and Spirit's information. So I hope that this can be kind of like a confirmation for you if you were going to be doing fasting and something was kind of feeling a little bit weird, or if you've been thinking about the medical medium information. I hope this can be confirmation for you to look into it, because it's so special and it's so powerful, and you can really heal and move forward and not have to worry about all the misinformation. So yeah, so this was the truth about fasting and what you're not told about it. Oh my gosh. And kind of going into my own experiences to kind of explain like how I've noticed these effects, like I can't believe the weight gain after the juice fasting was like mind blowing to me. Cause I was like, how does that happen? Like it's, like, I don't know. I just had such a thing about fasting and thinking it was so good. Oh, by the way, if you have any sort of eating disorder, like if you have binging issues or, I don't know, bulimia, any eating disorder, please don't fast. Please do not fast, because you have got to be in a healthy place in your body to be doing fasting. Because if you do fasting and you have an eating disorder, it can become like a vicious cycle where you're doing what I was doing. And I would say like intermittent fast all day, or like not intermittent, like I would water fast all day and then I'd binge at night. And it became this cycle of fasting, binging, fasting, binging, fasting, binging, which I'm making up for now because I'm still dealing with the weight gain that was it was bound to happen regardless. My liver was so shot before I even started the medical medium protocols. And while I was on them, doing all this fasting and stuff, I continued to actually weaken my liver. It just wasn't as bad because I was doing things like celery juice and the right foods and whatnot. But yeah, so please, please don't do this to yourself if you have an eating disorder, please. Because it can really just make things so much more difficult when all you really need to focus on is, nourishing yourself, like having adrenal snacks like every hour and a half to 2 hours, and learning to be okay with that, like learning the foods that are going to heal you and get you better, and not beating yourself up about eating, because if you're eating healthy foods, you're doing the right thing, you're moving forward, and not just, just beating yourself up constantly about it. So that's something I struggled with for a while, and I might do a separate video on like healing binge eating on medical medium protocols. But yeah, so I hope this video was helpful. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to subscribe, I'm going to be doing more videos like this on healing naturally and a few other subjects that I cover. And yeah, if you want to hit the little bell, then you can get notifications when I make a video. I understand if you don't want to do that, because I feel like, I mean, we're just so bombarded with social media already, but I mean, if you want to, that's cool. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.